Hey, what's up, y'all? This is William, the Permaculture Consultant, and today we're going to be, well, I'm basically going to be saving the plants that I have in the garden, but we're going to be managing the cover crop that I have planted in this here garden right here. Now, the people who the people who talk crap about having a cover crop in your garden are going to absolutely love this video, but that's just because they're looking at it at a very narrow mindset. Now, there are reasons to not use a cover crop in your garden, but I mean, there's also troll reasons as to why not use a ground cover in your garden. So let me go ahead and trying to find this right here. But let me go ahead and show you guys what I'm talking about. Oh, also, almost forgot this exciting announcement. May 4th in Texas, there's going to be a Homestead meetup. Hit the links down below, see if it's near you. If it's not, then maybe think about coming and visit and stuff like that. But me and the Texas boys are going to be there. We're going to be there to hang out with you guys, see what's going on around here in this part of Texas. And yeah, look forward to seeing you guys there. I'll remind you as we get closer to the date, but it's going to be May 4th, and I think Gladewater, it's at Grumpy's Garden Club. It'll be linked down below, so check that out. All right, so this is the tomato bed right here. Now I have these stakes here at the end, and I'm doing the Florida weave method up and down this particular bed. And as you can see right here, I've got a tomato just peeking out through past the clover right here. But if you go to different locations, like this is where I was kind of clearing, well, this is a good example right here. These peppers that I have planted in my tomato bed were completely covered with this ground cover. Now I came through and chopped it down, and then I realized I should probably make a video about it. But this is what I've done so far. Right here, I've just cleared around the peppers, cleared my clover, and mulched around the sides of the peppers. Like this is the stuff that I cut down right here. Now, this hasn't completely killed my ground cover at all. In fact, some of the clover that didn't germinate right away, that later germinated due to the existing miniature overstory of this clover, is still growing up. You might be thinking, like, this seems that you just added another layer of maintenance to your garden. Not necessarily. This ground cover eliminates the need for me to water all the doggone time. Now, if this was just bare dirt, which I can bring you to an area that's just bare dirt, this bare dirt right here isn't nearly as fertile as my garden over there, as you can see. And it's also quite a bit drier, as you can see. Like right there, that stuff is dry. Now, these both have had water applied to them at the same doggone time because of the rain event. If I reach my hand into this bed right here, I'm going to pull out pretty damp, moist soil. Not enough to where you can really see it on camera, but this is very, very damp. This is very moist, and it eliminates the need for me to have to water every day and enables me to actually hit the road and do on-the-road consultations. If I had a regular garden with just bare dirt in rows, then I wouldn't be able to leave the road and have still a successful garden. Oh, there's just a monarch, I think. There you go. Can you guys see that? He's just chilling in my garden bed. I think this is part of the migratory path, or not too far from the migratory path. That might not even be a monarch. I don't know much about butterflies other than they're good and they're pollinators. All right, that was a little off topic, but a couple of these garden beds have gotten pretty out of hand. Alrighty, so we're gonna continue on with this pepper and tomato bed. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and put that bucket off to the side for right now. So you can use actually a couple different tools to chop and drop. If you're using an edge tool, then I would recommend using at least one pair of gloves on the side that you're not holding the tool with. And this will help eliminate some of the cuts that you are definitely going to get. So you just grab it with your left hand and then rip it through with this here rice knife. You can buy some at permapasturesfarm.com. That's my parents' channel. And they have a bunch of awesome rice knives for sale now. And I'm just gonna come through and cut this stuff up. Now what I'm gonna do is work on the peppers that are on the outside of this, and then I'm gonna hit the middle of this where there's a little rosemary plant in here, but there's tomato plants down the center of the row because I'm doing the Florida weave, and there's peppers on the outsides of the row. And I'm literally just, here's my pepper plant right here. I grab it with this hand, and then with your rice knife, just cut all the way around it. And if you shake it back and forth like Let me make sure I'm not going to cut down a pepper. There we go. You can chop it up pretty well. Now there's still clover underneath that's going to germinate, and there's stuff that's already germinated that's going to do very well. Now I'm kind of keeping my mulch pile together so I can mulch around my pepper plants when I am through. And now just make sure you're not chopping down any of the plants that you planted. To be completely honest, I did kill a couple peppers, so be careful. And if you see any bare spots of the dirt, just take some of your mulch and cover it up. I'm just going to work my way down this whole garden bed, and I'm going to clear around. I got a rosemary plant here, I got a tomato plant here, and then spaced down this way I've got another tomato plant. And I'm just going to cut this stuff down and then lay it down right next to my plants. Now I'm not going to lay it right next to the base of my tomato plants because those are prone to blights and mildew, so I want to make sure that they have plenty of airflow. And then if the branches will reach the top little string here, I'll go ahead and bring the branches up and give them access. Oh, I got a ladybug. Oh, he just jumped off. But I had an actual ladybug, a real ladybug, on my tomato plant. Way to go, buddy. And you know, so far, whenever I first made this garden bed and stuff, there were quite a few ant piles within this. And I know there were some ant piles in here. And I honestly, I should have gotten bit up by now, and I think they've largely vacated. So, and I have actually seen quite a few worms. So I wonder if the ants vacated and the worms kind of took over. I wonder if that succession has already happened. If so, that's a lot faster than I was ever expecting. I thought I was going to at least have to wait, at the very least, a whole season. But it seems like whenever you change the soil or the bacteria to fungi ratio or the conditions in your soil, I think it's a hypothesis. I don't know if it's correct, but I think your ants will leave once that happens. Oh, also one of my viewers, Miss Betty White, sent me the recipe to get rid of fire ants. So everybody who's been asking, I've got a legitimate recipe you can make at home, and I think it'll help out quite a few people if it works. I haven't tested it out yet, so maybe I'll have to do that on camera and stuff and see how it works. But she swears by it. She said the only reason she didn't want to use it at that application was because it was right next to her apple tree, and she wasn't sure if it was going to hurt it or not. I also heard from a consultation I just did this past weekend, both happened within a few hours of each other, that another way to get rid of the fire ants is by using boiling water. So I should probably test both those methods, but I think that's pretty awesome that I got the answer to one of those problems within a few hours of each other from two different people that I don't think know each other. That'd be funny if they did know each other. I highly doubt they know each other. Another tool you can actually use is this here Swiss Army knife, which I do like using. Let me show you. I do like using this guy because it's really good for like smaller detailed work. Like, okay, right here around this pepper, I've got some comfrey or some clover. It's kind of stuck in between it. I can reach in with this without cutting everything like I would be with the rice knife. What's cool about the rice knife though is that it does not get dull very easily because it has so many serrations on it. So for your bulk work, I would use the rice knife, or even this guy right here. Now it's a little bit too big for this bed that I'm doing, but I can use it to line the edges and stuff, or get some mulch out of my walkway if I'm trying to harvest some mulch or even greens for my compost and stuff. This stuff does a really good job. And look at that, making it rain up in here. Looks like a rap video. And remember, there's a fine line between chopping and dropping and scalping. I do not want to scalp everything. I do very much want to keep this clover vegetative and keep it growing, so that way I don't have to apply it unless I absolutely have to. Now, I think I'm not sure if I'll have to apply a different ground cover once the summer really hits, because I don't think this clover is going to do too well. But if it does do well, then that'll be freaking awesome, and I won't have to reapply a different cover crop. Now, some people have been asking about like using some more bio-intensive methods of planting and stuff. Perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine. It's just the requirement of maintenance is a little bit higher than what I have to spend on it right now. So basically, Biointensive is, instead of using this as your ground cover, you just plant all of your plants in closer proximity. Now, if you're limited on space, oh crap. Found a hose. I thought it was a snake for a second. You're about to see me scream like a little girl and then start shooting. But anyway, gotta slow my heart rate back down now. But Biointensive is basically, instead of having this clover as a ground cover, you just plant all of your plants in closer proximity to each other. And that's fine. It's just, like I said, requires a little bit more maintenance and, believe it or not, more water requirements than this does. Also, the benefit of using this ground cover is that this clover, each one of these individual plants is feeding the soil life that I need down below. And if you remember, the soil that I started with in this property or on this garden was basically crap. So I definitely needed to spend the time and focus on amending the soil, which is what this clover is doing in a fantastic way. It's amending it so much faster than I ever expected. Okay, this is gonna be good to get on camera. Check this out. All right, so this right here was an ant mound all through here. You can see, like, that's red and the surrounding soil is like black and stuff. This, let me make sure, I'm not gonna cut down any peppers before I do this. So this was the ant hill, and I don't see any ants now. Like, usually there would be like tons of ants just working their way out whenever I'm cutting this stuff up, but I don't see any ants, and all that's left behind are the ant castings. Like, look, there should be ants crawling all over that, and there are none. That is insane. Okay, there's a little small amount right there, but I think that's just a couple one-offs. Wow. All right, so there's a cure for fire ants as well. Fire ants in the garden, apply a cover crop. Because this was a nasty nest down here, and there's no ants now. That's awesome. Alrighty, so as you can see, the tomato bed is done. The, hold on, let me adjust this, there we go. The peppers and stuff like that are showing, the tomatoes are showing, rosemary is too. Everything here is showing just like it should be. It's not being outcompeted by any of the clover. Now, looking from above, it just looks all green. But if you get down, now you can start seeing some of the peppers, some of the tomatoes, like right there, stuff like that. It's also the middle of the day, so seeing contrast and color is going to be a little bit different right now. But some of the areas that I mostly did with the rice knife, this area over here with my marigolds, I'm just going to do with this little pen knife or Swiss Army knife. So yeah, they're kind of buried right now. And I don't want to really knock out any of my sunflowers, like right here, and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to get in here with this little pen knife and just cut away to expose the marigold. There you go. Make sure you don't actually cut your marigold, which is the whole reason you're switching over to this pen knife. Because with that rice knife, to be honest, I lost a few plants. But in my defense, I guess there is no defense. I did just straight up cut some of the tomatoes and peppers. No big deal. Swiss Army knives are also really nice because they are such a thin blade. So even if it does go dull, that's one of the benefits of having a super thin blade, is that it still slices pretty doggone well. I'm gonna also hit these marigolds up over here. They're in more of the perennial bed. Not the fully planted one out with the gills and everything. This is more like the throwaway perennial bed where I have any extra perennials and stuff like that get planted in here. I will be planting, or I will be using some of these rootstock trees here in the future to propagate. and start grafting my own plants and everything. All right, so here's an example of where the ants have not left yet. I don't know if you guys can see that, but they're scattering everywhere. Barely missed that. So, and that's also in a more of a bare spot. This is right next to this tree that I planted. What is this? What kind of fruit tree is this? This is an apple tree. This is right next to the apple tree that I just planted, and the cover crop did not come up as well around that, so maybe that's part of the reason. I'm not entirely sure. Oh yeah, here's a little mimosa tree. I almost cut that down. I planted this on purpose. This came from my father-in-law's place. This is gonna be a nitrogen fixer and provide a canopy here in the middle of the garden. Same thing with these other fruit trees. That's what I have them here for, is to provide a canopy and also just to diversify the types of food I'm gonna get out of this garden over time. If these carrots aren't working, then I'll go ahead and cut some of these down and put my sweet potatoes down here. And is that ragweed or is that carrot? That's ragweed. Well, I'm seeing some of them. I'm seeing some of them pop up, pulling them out and kind of testing them. To be honest, guys, I don't think these are gonna do a whole lot of anything. So it was a cool little experiment, cool to see if it would work. It did way better than I thought it was going to, because I honestly did not expect, any of these carrots to germinate, because I just put in, like I said, absolutely no effort into them. So what I'm gonna do is, this is gonna become sweet potatoes, and actually this one might become sweet potatoes as well. So I'll need to get if you haven't seen that video yet, it's a little too late to do the video now. But I did do a video on how to start your own sweet potato slips. Little spoiler alert, it did not produce enough for what I need in this garden, so I'm gonna have to buy some as well. But that'll be a nice little side-by-side comparison, like the ones that I started versus the one that I bought at the store. But yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. All right, so I hope this video was helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, cover crops are not a bad thing. They do require a little bit of different type of work, but not more work. I mean, think of it this way, you would have to go weed your garden anyway. It's much easier for me to just chop down a swath of area versus weeding it by hand. And it's much better for the soil as well, because now, like I showed you in that bed right over there, you can see the lighter green on camera. Those plants right there are now panicking, thinking they just went through some catastrophic damage, and they're sending a ton of sugar down into the soil right now. So I should see a boost of growth in my tomatoes and my peppers. So yeah, gardening ain't that hard. Just plant more plants than you think, and should be good to go. So until next time, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you.